So welcome back to Mayflower Sanctuary for some more Dogs' Tales. Have you ever wondered what it must be like for the dogs that are in care, how they must feel when day after day they're passed by the visitors? Well, you're going to find out today, and you're going to need your tissues. So coming up on today's show, we see how Akai and Jess get on at the vets. We see how Jess copes with daily rejection. Val takes us through the rehoming procedure, and Roy gets his forever home. All coming up. The local vet visits the sanctuary once a week for routine injections and for treatment. This week it was the turn of Aki from Romania, who was here for her routine injections, and also for Jess, who was having stitches removed after surgery for a tumour.
Right, who's this? This is Akai. Where's he come from? Romania. How long's he been here for? Since Saturday. Good girls. There we go. It's 2 weeks now, isn't it? Yeah, let me just check, but I'm sure it's 2 weeks because she looked at him last week and decided to leave him. What's that? Oh, it's just a skin tag. Hold on, Puppet. That's done. This one's a bit tight, don't it? That's done, sweetheart. A bit tight. That's it. I'm going to leave that one in there. Okay. Take that out next week. Nearly finished. Good girl.
Ah, weren't they brave? And Akai didn't even flinch when the needle went in. I used to wonder what it must be like for the dogs on the other side of the glass at visiting time and how they must feel. So I fitted Jess out with a doggy cam to check it out. But first of all, let's hear Jess's story.
This is Jess. Jess is 10 years old. She came into us because her owner was become homeless, and so she obviously had to hand her over. She has had some medical problems with the lumps, which have been removed by the vet, and she's okay now. Jess is a staffy, very sweet, very adorable, proper staffy, talks to you. Jess does get on with most of the dogs. We don't know about cats. She hasn't lived with cats, but she's very friendly towards other dogs, and as you can see, very friendly to everybody, wants cuddles. She just wants to chill out and relax a little bit, but she doesn't enjoy lots of walks and play. She does like to play. Good girl. Good girl. Darling. All right, baby. What a loving dog. Jess says she's going to make an amazing pet.
How can such a lovely dog be passed over day after day? Get your tissues at the ready now.
Sorry.
Makes you want to weep, doesn't it? So maybe after watching this, somebody out there will be able to offer her a forever home that she really deserves. Mayflower has a very strict rehoming policy, which is absolutely the right thing to do, as many of these dogs have experienced neglect, ill treatment or abandonment. So I asked Val to take me through the procedures.
We have a robust process for rehoming animals here at the centre. The first thing that we do that some of the rescue centres don't is that we are open to the public for a couple of hours each afternoon, longer at the weekends, and we do encourage, if someone's interested in a dog, for them to come and visit the dog first. So we wouldn't take a reservation from somebody for a dog or cat without them first coming to meet the animal. If they are seriously interested in rehoming that animal, then they will have a chat with the kennel carer who is responsible for that particular house. They'll be able to tell them more information about the animal they're wanting to rehome, and we insist with dogs that the prospective new owners have the dog in the paddock, which is fully self-enclosed, and have the dog off the lead, and also interact with it, and that all family members who are going to be living in the house actually meet the dog. Once the prospective family have met the dog and they're happy that it is the dog of their choice, we do ask if there's any members of the family under 5 years old. If there is, we need to look at that carefully. We generally do not rehome a dog with children under the age of 5 unless we know the dog's previous history, i.e. that it's lived with children and been fine with them. If the prospective owners have got another animal, such as more dogs, then we do insist on a meet and greet with the new pet and their current dog to see if they get on. If the new owners have got a cat already, we do what's called a cat test with the dog, take it down to the cattery and see how it reacts to cats. And sometimes that's good, and sometimes that's not so good. So we do insist on a 5-foot secure fencing or similar right round the garden. And if the new owner's not got that, we allow them a certain amount of time to fix that fencing. Once that's done, we arrange a home visit from one of our coordinators. They will go out and do a home visit. They're volunteers, they do it in their own time, and they will assess the home where the dog's going to be living, and sometimes the cat too. We sometimes do home visits for cats. Once that's passed, we do insist that new owners for dogs attend a dog listening session that's delivered every Saturday morning, before they can take their pet. This is a fantastic opportunity to learn some tips on how to rehome a rescue dog. It helps the owner in relaxing with their new dog, knowing what measures to put in place, knowing what behaviour, how to behave. It relaxes the dog, and also it prevents the yo-yo dog, the dog that comes back and forward and is constantly going out and coming back in again. So it helps everybody, and it helps us because one dog goes out and we can then take another one in. So the new owners attend the dog listening session. Once that's finished, they then sign an adoption contract, pay a donation fee, and the dog is theirs to take. A few days after they've taken their new pet home, we will contact them by telephone and just check if everything's going okay. If everything's not, we can give advice on what to do and perhaps refresh the dog listener session that they had on that Saturday morning. What we do say to all our members of the public that are adopting dogs is that the dog listener session is run every Saturday morning, and they are free to attend anytime they want for a top up. We'd welcome them coming back if they're having some sort of problems or behaviour issues with their dogs. They can speak afterwards with the dog listener and address their particular issues. After that, it's happy sailing, and new dog, new cat, new home, and the next one comes in.
And finally, we have the story of Roy.
This is Roy. He's 7 years old and is a greyhound. He's very loving, loves everybody and loves cuddles. And he loves his walks and he's very healthy. He has no health issues whatsoever. Roy is very good with other dogs. He likes to play. He's very good with cats and children. He just loves everybody. Greyhounds don't need a lot of exercise, even though a lot of people think that they do with being racing dogs, but they are quite lazy and love a comfy armchair to sleep in. Don't you, kid? Roy's got his forever home today. He leaves us today. Such a sweet gentleman. Again, we're really, really pleased that he's got his forever home. And we're really happy. It's still really sad to watch one of our babies go. Good boy.
I just always keep a couple of them to get out today.
You used to do this, didn't you? Yes. Yeah, got time for cuddles though.
We're having a male with dog treats and stuff, so it does.
What sort of treats?
Anything, yes.
Anything.
Yeah.
I'll just
With the beer.
like that down too.
Roy!
Look at the camera.
Roy!
Tell me why you chose Roy.
I've had greyhounds before, and he's just such a lovely character. He's very placid and mild, but he's got a glint of fun in his eyes as well. Right, we've got to open the gate before you go through it.
Well, Roy has now found his forever home with his volunteer walker, Sarah. Now, she fell in love with him on their weekly walks, which is absolutely understandable because he's absolutely adorable, as you can see. So I went out to visit him at his new home, and his new dad, Peter, is telling me how he's been settling in. Let's take a look.
My wife had been volunteer dog walking for probably 5 to 6 weeks. I joined her, we took Roy for a walk, and immediately I fell in love with him. He's so perfect, easy temperament. Took him out the second week, same thing again. I think by the third week that was me hook, line and sinkered. Sarah convinced me to have him because she'd fell in love with him too, and she'd had greyhounds before, and she just played on me basically and gave me the doughy-eyed look as much as Roy did. We don't leave food out on the worktop because if you do and you turn your back, it will be gone. Me and Sarah decided we'd have Swedish meatballs for tea, got them out of the freezer, put them on the kitchen worktop covered with a tea towel. I came into the living room to do something, came back in, Roy's laid looking contented on his bed. When I went to get the dish to put in the oven, there were 22 meatballs, there was one left and they were still frozen. He settled in really well, and he's one part of the family. Everybody that comes around family wise wants to take him home. Roy's made such a big difference, it's like having a child. Obviously we both work, but we've got a dog walker. He's just a pleasure to have. We take him everywhere. He's got three holidays planned this year, so the first holiday will be at the end of June. It's just a pleasure having him. I'd recommend anybody, especially the Mayflower Sanctuary, because the staff, they're absolutely excellent. The conditions, the care that they give the animals is absolutely superb, and you can tell when you walk around the sanctuary and you take the dogs out that they are well looked after. So I would recommend anybody to adopt a rescue dog, especially Roy.
Isn't it lovely to see these dogs that are now so happy? Well, sadly that's all for today, so catch me next time for more Dogs Tales.